Hello and welcome to another GT Sport video. Today we will be driving Daily Race C, which is the Group 3 race on the circuit of Monza. As a car for today we picked a Chevrolet Corvette C7 GT3 car. I haven't used this car many times before, so I'm really curious what we can do in this race. But let's just get on with it and start the first race. So we're off. Onto the first chicane. Let's hope it won't be mayhem there. So we brake for the first chicane, we go a little bit on the inside. Everyone's kind of pushing and pulling over there, a bit of contact over there, but we managed to survive. We don't go off. We actually go through the first chicane in P4. Let's see if we can overtake this Portuguese driver on the second chicane, but we don't really manage to get next to him. But we're still fairly close, so let's skip ahead a little bit, and here we get an opportunity to overtake the Portuguese driver. So go to the outside, which actually wasn't the smartest of moves. But let's see if we can outbrake him. We don't really outbrake the Portuguese driver. We're going through Ascari, right on his tail. Meanwhile, the German driver behind us got this as an opportunity to come closer to us. The Portuguese driver gets a half-second penalty going through Ascari, which we can take back at second lap, but braking into Parabolica, we kind of missed our braking point and lose a couple of positions. Luckily the Spanish driver here goes into the pits, so we're back into P5, and as a result that's back when we started. So let's fast forward a little bit. We're trying to catch up in the group in front, trying to make up some positions. The Portuguese driver paid his penalty there, and lap 2 is not really eventful up until there. Now we come to lap 3. Here we get the tow on the Portuguese driver and we might be able to overtake him. However, he does defend on the inside, so we will have to get past him, but he covers the inside pretty well. We even have to watch out not to go off. And we exit the first chicane. Not really how we would like it to have gone. Let's skip ahead a little bit more. So here we see one driver going off. So now we're in P4 without actually having to battle anyone. Here we come close to the Portuguese driver, but that line through the second chicane wasn't really that good. As a result, we get half-second penalty. Try to get next to him in the first Lismo corner, but we don't really manage to hold our position there. So we back off for the second Lismo corner, make sure our exit is good. Meanwhile, the Norwegian driver in front went a little bit off. Unfortunately, we lose a little bit of ground because we had to pay our penalty. And then through Ascari, I'm not 100% sure what is happening between those two there, but the Norwegian driver goes off a little bit at the end of Ascari and just decides to quit altogether. And here we go into the pits. So we get some fresh rubber on our car and go off for lap number 6. Now we're kind of in the middle between The Russian driver in front, 3 seconds. The Danish driver behind me, 2.5 seconds. So not really much is going to happen this next lap. So let's skip ahead a little bit. So here we are in lap 7, and the Danish driver behind us managed to close the gap pretty fast. So now he's right on our tail, on to the back straight, on our way to Ascari. So on our way to Ascari, he managed to get next to us on the inside. I brake a little later than him and we go through Ascari all the way next to each other. But going out to Ascari, I noticed that he gets a 1 second penalty, which is very fortunate for us. So now all I'll have to do is just stick in his tail. So going through Parabolica, we're close to him. Going through the exit, we're still in slipstream. He covers the inside really well, so I go around the outside. Braking for the first chicane, gets in front a little bit. I tried to take my line better, but spin just a little bit coming out of the corner and ultimately lose a little bit of ground. So let's skip ahead a little bit. Fortunately, he has to serve his 1 second penalty. So I get to come back and overtake him here actually. But we don't really manage to shake him. And coming out of Ascari, he's right on our tail again. We cover the inside, he goes to the outside here, but his speed is significantly faster. And he gets in front before Parabolica. His exit's better, but we still have the tow. And here in lap 9, one more time, I try to overtake him, try to go to the inside here, but he covers it quite aggressively, so we have to go to the outside ultimately. And here I miss my brake point because of it. We go off a little bit and we rejoin the race, but by this time we have lost the slipstream. And nothing really happens from there. So we end the race in P5. So we started in P5, ended in P5. A lot of action in this race, but nothing really fortunate for us. So let's not linger about too long and skip to the next race. So here we are, race number 2. This time we are starting in P8 instead of P5, which is a couple of places back, but let's see what we can do from here. And we're off. Slowly making our first approach to the first chicane. Going a little bit on the inside as to avoid hitting anyone, and going in slow, make sure we don't hit anyone. Our exit on the first chicane is a little bit better than the Mercedes in front of us, so we managed to secure P7. Although the Ukrainian driver is right on our tail. So now we're making our approach for the second chicane. And here we get caught right by surprise as the Ukrainian driver just slips by us going into the chicane. And I have to admit that was a quite decent overtake. But for now, we're just sticking right on the tail of the drivers in front of us. And kind of hoping that someone screws up. It always gives a couple of positions for free. Making our way through Ascari for the first time. We get a little bump from the driver behind us, but it doesn't really push us off. Now we're right on the tail of the Mercedes driver, which we managed to overtake on our approach to Parabolica. We're right next to each other now. Still going in the inside. My exit is a little bit better, but we stay right next to each other. There's also the Portuguese driver, which is right behind us. So as we make our approach to the first chicane in the second lap, I go a little bit more on the inside than I would like to. Still making our approach slowly again. We tap the Ukrainian driver just a little bit. But we still managed to survive the first chicane once again. And if you see the map on the top right, you see that the racing of all the 18 cars is still pretty close. Here we managed to miss our braking point by a mile. So we have to yield our position to the Portuguese driver. And it takes us a little while to close the gap between the guys in front. So the rest of lap 2, there's not really that much action anymore. But here we are, starting in lap number 3. On the start's finish straight, we managed to catch up to the two drivers in front. And here we make our approach to the first chicane. We go into the inside. Going very carefully. We didn't really hit anybody off, and here we receive a 2-second penalty for colliding with another car. So let's see again what happened. We make our approach on the inside, we tap the Portuguese driver a little bit, but he doesn't even go off, far from it actually. The driver in the Corvette we don't hit because he's ghosted. And then we receive our lovely 2-second penalty. So with our 2-second penalty, it might not even be worth it to fight the Portuguese driver behind me because he's virtually way in front. So I let him go through in the second chicane, but my exit seems to be much better. And I try to overtake him a little bit, but he plucks us off. Then he goes to the barrier here and we hit him a little bit. Fortunately, we don't get an additional penalty here. But here we go through last mode 2. So serving our penalty here. Lose 1 position. And in the end, before we get to Ascari, another. So we're going into Ascari. We get another Spanish driver, less than a second behind us. But now we're making our approach to the Mercedes driver in front, which we hopefully can outbrake. And we're next to him. We slide right past him, and we gain a position. And now we're back in P8. Right where we started. So going into lap 4. The Mercedes driver we just overtook is right on our tail, which is why I'm defending on the inside. Making our approach slowly. Seems like another driver went off here, so we gain a position for free. And then nothing really happens for a while, so let's fast forward just a little bit. Here a couple of drivers have to serve their penalty, but One of those drivers decides to go into the barrier. Another one we are approaching right now, but he was a little bit too far to overtake him before Ascari though. But as we go through Ascari, it seems that our exit is a little bit better and we managed to get right into his slipstream. So now we're approaching Parabolica and we are going to try for the overtake. We go into the inside, we brake later than him, but actually we brake a little too late and he passes on right on the inside, gets the cutback on us. But fortunately, at the start-finish straight, we get right back into the slipstream and get a second chance at overtaking. So we go into the inside one more time, outbrake him one more time, and here we are passed and in P5. So let's skip ahead one more time. Here we overtake another player who went off. And now we're in P3, which is mainly due to the fact that some other players went into the pit stop already. And in the end of this lap, we also go into the pits. Switching to the hard tires. And it seems that we're coming out of the pit in P5, but as we make our approach to the first chicane, we get overtaken by 3 drivers in a group. And coming out of the first chicane, we bump into the Toyota driver ever so slightly. But we're still alive. We get a little bump on the side right there. Now we're right on the tail of the Spanish driver. Can we force something here? Going to the inside on the second chicane, but no, not really. I really had to be careful there not to push him off, and again receiving a penalty, but we go out alive. Going through Lesmo 1, bit of a gap opening up, make sure he doesn't get away too far. Through Lesmo 2, there's another driver in front serving his penalty. So we overtake him. Now we're in P5, now it's a battle for P4. We go through Ascari one more time. Here we get the tow. We make our approach for the first chicane one more time. We go through the inside, brake a little too late actually, take a bad line, he comes to the outside of the second corner and we bump a little bit. Luckily he doesn't go off, but we managed to keep it on track and managed to defend our position. But here he makes his approach one more time in the second chicane. He's on the inside and he passes us here. So now we're in P5. And nothing really happens from there, so that's the rest of the race. So the end result of the second race is P5, which is the same result as the first race. But here we started on P8, so we gained a couple of positions at least. Final thoughts on the Corvette is I quite like this car. It didn't really appear to be the fastest, or it might just be my wonderful incompetence. But I think I will be using it more in the future. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'll hopefully see you in the next video.